Sorry about that. I was reading this article. Really, really interesting stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Live at 5. My name is Hugo Quintanilla. I am a Long and Foster Realtor licensed in Maryland. My phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com. And my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. This is your little space to learn a little bit more about real estate every day. I hope you're having a great day. It's always a pleasure to have you. And thank you so much for tuning in and liking, engaging with the stuff, sharing. Please, 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 please go ahead and check out and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as the TikTok, Instagram, and our LinkedIn. All the support. I cannot thank you guys enough for another great year. It feels to me like the year is coming to a close. At least real estate wise, there are only about maybe 9, 10 more days left in the year. For the most part, everybody's getting their last transactions done. But this does not mean that real estate stops. There are already properties under contract for January, and this could be the year. So looking forward into January and looking into the future for what is in store for real estate and the trends that we have in store. Today, we're going to be looking at real estate and design trends to watch in 2024. It's a very nifty, cool little article by Barbara Ballinger that was written for nar.realtor. And I'll share the article after the live as well. Please go ahead and check it out in more detail. I'm briefly going to go over the article, but these are just some trends that we're seeing nationally that are of note. More than anything, the biggest thing that we're noticing is that people are staying in their properties longer. It seems kind of obvious, really, with things being as expensive as they are. The home buyer, the average person, believes that now is a great time to sell, but a horrible time to buy. I don't blame them, but at the same time, when you understand real estate as well as I do, and have been doing real estate for a significant amount of time, you see the cycles and how real estate rises and falls. I'm not saying that there's never any danger or risk of losing money in real estate, but there are very easy ways to mitigate that risk. So working with a professional that knows their stuff in the area that you want to work in is essential. It's really, I would love to work with all of you, and I appreciate some of you bringing in on some of your deals, but I cannot be everywhere. And my license is in Maryland, and my specialty for the most part is in Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and Frederick. So I wanted to talk about these trends today because, like I said, this article is another great read from NAR. And I think that, spending some more time and checking out these resources that we have available is a really great way to stay on top of this as a homeowner and also as someone that's a home buyer, because you can see what realtors are talking about. This is all public facing. So we're really trying to be as transparent as possible as realtors. So let's go ahead and jump into the article and see what we got going on for today. So number one, more than anything else, like I was saying earlier, we're seeing people stay in their properties for longer, and that's causing people to focus more on joy and happiness over trendiness. So we're having people actually living in their homes, looking for properties that have the amenities that they're looking for, properties that are going to be maybe a 10-year stay versus whereas maybe a dozen years ago we were seeing people leave their homes about every 7 years. The number has extended. We're seeing more generational living. And especially if you're a Latino, you'll be proud that we have one of the largest upcoming populations to become new homeowners. So as that population ages and we have this new influx of home ownership in that demographic, it's going to be interesting to see how generational living and making homes work for the family and the family unit are gonna those trends are gonna impact over time versus how we were seeing for a long time very standardized living where everything was very gray and fix and flip, and you could almost tell when a property was flipped because it just had a staple pattern and staple look and staple aesthetic. Aging populations housing, we're thinking more along the lines of specializing the housing. We're seeing more wheelchair lifts. We're seeing more handicap railing. We're seeing more wheelchair accessibility, wider halls. So things like that are things to think about in the future as we have an aging population. Number three, changing housing dynamics. Homeowners are looking for more sustainable features. They're looking for energy efficiency, and there's a huge demand for America's number one favorite sport right now, pickleball. So pickleball courts are in huge demand, but other amenities that can influence a homeowner are really what's changing why people are coming and going to places. Of course, there's always the usual suspects such as work and work life balance, such as, people that change their jobs, family dynamics to change, really just to save money. Sometimes selling a home might be the most financially savvy thing to do, and renting one to save some money might be the smartest thing. Sometimes you got to really take time and think about your situation long term and what you're doing with it, and not forget the vision. It's very easy year to year to forget what you're doing 10 years down the road. So, thinking about the changing dynamics of the communities we're living in is something, and that's actually something that's public facing. You can do a lot of easy research with that online. So, something to keep in mind. Property sizes and preferences. We're seeing smaller single family homes and the popularity of townhouses due to high mortgage rates. It's just the lay of the land right now. It's what people can afford. So, with that demand for housing, we're seeing a lot of competition for smaller townhouses. Well, I'm sorry, for smaller single family homes and for townhouses. It's really tough out there sometimes in those lower markets. In the higher luxury markets, we're not seeing that much competition, but it really depends on your area and who's your agent and what type of marketing plan there is in the situation. Luxury is a whole different animal sometimes, and luxury is usually considered anything over, I believe, it's a million now. So anything over $1 million is considered luxury real estate. We're seeing a lot more emphasis and trends leaning into sustainable energy and luxury specs. So people are wanting more for their dollar. If they're going to do a renovation, they want products that are not only sustainable, but also that will bring some sort of return on the investment. Can't blame them. We're using a lot more recycled steel. We have a lot more incentives by the government to actually use these energy efficient appliances, and actually builders to use energy efficient materials in their projects. And there's a huge demand for luxury and modern design, especially since people, not everyone is okay with buying a used home, so to speak. I will let that one sit there. I can have a whole discussion about that, but where are we? Multifamily amenities. Highlight key features such as pools, tennis courts, pickleball courts, things like that I mentioned earlier. We're seeing a lot more emphasis on those outdoor features because more than anything else, these families are serving different generations. We need something for the kids, so a tot lot. We need something for the teenagers, so a clubhouse. We need something for the older demographic, maybe a restaurant or sort of a lounge. I've seen that, a bar, something like that inside the building. There are tons of great amenities. Just you got to know where to ask and where to look. Huge emphasis on kitchen trends. I think I spoke yesterday about kitchens and how kitchens are some of the most important, well, is the most important room of the house, second to the main bedroom. The kitchen is where we spend almost 60% of our time. And it's funny because we actually spend only about, I think, 80% of our time in 20% of our home. So that means we're in our living room, probably in our garage, probably in the walkways. We're probably in our family rooms, probably in our kitchens, and probably in our main sleeping areas. So think about that. Where do you spend 20% of your time? That's where you're walking 80%. That's the 80% of the foot traffic in your home is that 20% of where you're spending your time. So especially I would really be curious to find out if that's changed at all with work from home since people are trying to get out of the house more. But it'd be very interesting to see for next year a trend. Natural landscaping. We're seeing more conservative orientation on the landscaping, not as built up. We're seeing more energy efficient structures, more energy efficient features. So if you're having a water feature, it's self uh, sufficient. It's something that's not gonna harm the environment, and it seems very in nature is kind of the trend right now. Not so much building up structures and making an over manicured landscape, creating hardscapes and things like that, but really something that's more working with the terrain and building into the land as much as possible. We're seeing a big emphasis personally I'm seeing a big emphasis in my world on people growing personal farms. So we're seeing a lot of people try their green thumbs this year, and that has been very interesting to see. It's You can do it. I would definitely say you can do it, but you've got to be careful. You got to test the soil where you're going to be planting, and just be mindful of the regulations that you have in your area when it comes to that. More than anything else, you don't want to break any rules. Don't want to bring in any pests or unwanted germs or bacteria into a community. So just making sure that the things that you're planting are on the up and up and that you're doing it in a safe way that is safe for you to ingest as well as safe to grow. Exterior color trends. We're seeing a rising popularity of darker neutrals in exterior colors. So bold yet sophisticated color choices and durability in the paints. More than anything else, people want quality, but bold, standout colors is the thing. Now, keep in mind, you really can't do that in a lot of these townhouses. They have HOAs, and sometimes those HOAs have things against you changing the color, the outside of your home to a different color, and you might have to go to a vote or whatever the process is. So keep that in mind. You can't do that in those townhouses, but remember, that's not the end all be all. We're in the game of real estate, and real estate is a long-term game. So we'll take that home and one day we'll use that to get a single family home where you can paint it whatever color you want. I'm sure we've all seen that one meme where it's a Barbie pink house, and houses like that sell. It's the notoriety of houses like that sometimes can weigh against them, but sometimes the virality of these moments, these 15 seconds of fame, it really can make the deal happen. So sometimes you just got to know when to strike when the iron's hot, so to speak, and just be conscious of the market that you're working in, because you really can't do everything everywhere. It's There are different tastes and different refining tastes to different areas. So make sure that you're spending time to learn what would benefit you. What types of improvements would benefit your home? What types of improvements would benefit you for the area you live in? You don't want to build a McMansion inside of a property where you can't even fit it. You got to stay within the realms of what you're trying to do. I'm not saying don't upgrade, but I'm also saying upgrade within the parameters that are looking towards future and looking towards not just today's trends, but longevity, sustainability, and generational living. If your property is meeting those three requirements, if you're an investor, now's a great time to purchase distressed properties, fix them up, assure those three things, and make sure that the property is upkept and you can have great tenants for a very long time. So keep that in mind. If you have any further questions about improvements you can make to a property, about more design trends and suggestions on design trends, let me know. I'm always here to help. I'm not a designer, not an interior designer or anything like that, but I have to know a little bit of everything. And I know a lot of stagers, a lot of interior designers that can help us. So it's all about finding someone that works with you and your aesthetic and that you like. Really, that's the important thing. This is your home, your project. I'm trying to make it work for you. And who am I? I am Hugo Quintanilla with Long and Foster. I am licensed in Maryland. Phone number 240-389-4846. Hugo at lnf.com. My email, my website, yourrealtorhugo.com. Feel free and reach out to me any way that you feel comfortable. I'm always here to help. Always here to help your friends and family too. If you know anyone that wants to get ready for next year and wants to prepare, wants to talk to somebody, no pressure, let me know. I'm always here to help and always love to answer questions and get people on the right path to home ownership or the next step in the process. Take care, guys. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great Thursday.